Welcome to the Commerce World's Strongest Man. We're just minutes from downtown Los Angeles at the Commerce Hotel and Resort. The first event that the field of 6 international athletes that make up Group 3 will face is the loading race.
Yeah, Brent, and power, speed, and endurance are all going to be tested here because you're going to need all those attributes to get the 2 barrels that weigh 265 pounds and the 2 sacks that are 275 pounds from the ground to the platforms that are 12 meters away.
3 rookies are in Heat 1. Bulgaria's Dimitar Sabatinov is a 33-year-old former circus strongman. 30-year-old Gregor Shimansky from the seemingly endless supply of Polish strongmen checks in at 6'2", 320. 33-year-old Mike Caruso of the United States. He played college lacrosse at Maryland to Baltimore County and has a PhD in cell and molecular biology.
Got some brains and brawn on there, Stover.
Yeah, not sure how that's going to fit into the loading race here, but we'll find out. Start for Caruso in the near lane. The American Mike Caruso.
These loading races really, to me, don't get started until they get to the sacks that are pretty awkward because they don't have handles, but there's Shimansky doing a great job of using some speed to get back, and he's the first one through the transition with that first sack.
Middle lane is Shimansky of Poland, and he's got a large lead as he gets his final sack.
He gets that sack up in one motion. Watch Mike Caruso here. A little bit of a slower transition. Shimansky's going to win this thing with great technique.
That will be the mark to beat. Gregor Shimansky. Caruso gets second in the heat. And still struggling in that far lane is Bulgaria's Dimitar Sabatinov.
And look at Sabatinov with that unorthodox technique there, carrying it like it's a sack of potatoes. Bravo, Sabatinov.
Winner of the heat is Shimansky, 37.56. Caruso at 42.02, so Shimansky sets the early pace in this loading race.
Yeah, and he basically led wire to wire, and it was all about technique and power for Shimansky. Just look how he held that barrel high up on his chest. Those big biceps, that's how it's done.
Now to Heat 2, this is Lauri Nami's 3rd appearance at the World's Strongest Man. The 35-year-old Estonian is 6'1", 324. Jerry Pritchett of Arizona is another 3-timer. The 6'4", 345-pound former powerlifter figures to be a contender for a spot in the final. The same is true for England's Eddie Hall. The 26-year-old is the favorite in this group and is the reigning Britain's strongest man. So this Heat 2 is stacked, to say the least. The American Pritchett in the middle lane.
See Pritchett with that squared-off starting technique, a little bit different than the other competitors, and he's the last one to the first platform.
Very good start for Lauri Nami in that far lane.
Eddie Hall, again, we talked about his lack of mobility in the dynamic movement events, but doing pretty good here. And there goes Nami. First one to get that sack up.
And now Pritchett really struggling with his grip. 1 sack to go. The leader is Nami in the far lane, battling here with Eddie Hall as they come down the stretch. And Nami wins the heat and will finish second overall in the loading race. 0.05 behind Shimansky from Heat 1.
And Jerry Pritchett really struggling here out of the gate, getting a grip of that 275-pound sack.
Not good for Pritchett. He will finish 6th overall. 59.26 is where the clock stops. But Lauri Nami, second in the loading race, 37.61. Eddie Hall, all 4 objects, finishes 3rd overall, 38.92.
Brent, it's tough to accept being beaten by 0.5 of a second, especially when each place in the standings is worth a point. Nami will be asking himself what he could have done differently to make up that fraction of a second.
There's your loading race winner, Gregor Shimansky. A very nice debut for the strongman from Poland. So Shimansky wins in a time of 37.56 and also gets 6 points in the overall standings. Nami was second. In third, it was Hall. The Americans Caruso and Pritchett finish in 4th and 6th, respectively. We remain at our host venue, the Commerce Hotel and Resort, in Los Angeles, California, as the Commerce World's Strongest Man continues. Next up for the athletes in Group 3 is one of the absolute classics. It's the truck pull.
With the 26,500-pound truck resting on an incline, leg drive and arm power will be used to overcome the initial inertia. After they reach the flatter part of the course about 5 meters in, it should be smooth sailing, just like the Titanic.
The man who won the first event, Gregor Shimansky. The strongman from Poland produced plenty of power in the loading race. He'll try to do it again in the truck pull. Two athletes have already had their attempt with a 26,500-pound truck. Dimitar Savatinov of Bulgaria completed the 30-meter course in 49.11 seconds. American Mike Caruso stopped just short of the finish line and was credited with 29.4 meters.
Ready! Brent, this really is the toughest part of the race. You see Shimansky there using 2 feet and then getting that truck moving early and starting that leg drive. Having the balance and using those big arms to pull yourself forward as your legs drive yourself forward is critical, and Shimansky looks pretty good here early on.
First 10 meters on the incline, and then it flattens out here. The minutes mark is the time limit, but Shimansky in a nice rhythm here.
Yeah, you see his toes, he's pigeon-footed and has those feet kind of pronated, but he's in a good rhythm, got some great leg drive, and he's going to finish here with a good time.
So Shimansky's going to be the new leader, easily beating the time put up by Savatinov.
Leading the truck pull, a time of 38.05 seconds.
So 38.05, that'll be the mark for the competitors to try to beat.
Sure, body mass and technique can be a huge help in the truck pull, but effort is really what will make a difference, and you saw that with Shimansky. If you're willing to push your physical limits, you'll put up a quality time, and he certainly did that.
From England,
Eddie Hall of England is trying to qualify for his first final, as the top 2 athletes in this group will do. But right now, after one event, Eddie is in 3rd place.
Yeah, and when Eddie's not training for strongman, he's a truck mechanic, so if anyone's going to feel at home in this event, it's him.
Probably a little easier changing the oil in a truck than pulling it, huh?
Quite a bit.
26,500 pounds, and he's off and rolling.
A little bit more erect at that start, but again, very aligned, very smooth. Look at those big, powerful legs and his arms pulling himself with that power along that rope. Eddie started out a little bit slow here, but he's starting to gain some momentum.
38.05 is the time to beat.
You hear him taking those breaths, Brent. At some point, your body gets oxygen deprived, and this is where conditioning comes in, but Eddie Hall seems to be in pretty good shape.
Gonna be close. And he beats Shimansky's time. And the new pace is set by Eddie Hall. 37.46 for the English strongman. And he's your new leader.
Truck pull, the time of 37.46 seconds. Eddie Hall!
Great job by Eddie Hall. We've seen that he's got all sorts of power in those legs and arms, and that power supply really helped him here in the truck pull. Just a smooth, efficient effort by him.
From the United States of America.
The other American in this group is Jerry Pritchett. The man from Avondale, Arizona, finished 6th in the first event, and he's hoping to bounce back here.
Pritchett really needs to get a good start and a good time here, because that loading race, Brent, that you mentioned wasn't very good. Little hop in his step, though, early on. That may help him.
He gets jump started off the bat very quickly, pulling this 26,500-pound truck.
Looking good early, really using those arms. Those arms can help kind of supplement those legs. It's important to keep that tension on the rope, but this is about the point in the course where guys start to feel it.
Form looks good, though.
Form looks good. Look at that rope, though. It's starting to get heavy on him. Jerry's getting gassed here. He's got to finish strong.
Not going to hit the time, but still solid. 38.93. Off the mark of 37.46, which Eddie Hall put down. So 3rd place is where Pritchett will find himself at the moment here in the truck pull.
Good effort for a tight group, Brent. And once the truck gets moving, it's real repetitive action. The legs keep driving, the arm keeps yanking on the rope over and over again. I'm sure it's not fun, but remember, success doesn't ever come without a price.
Well, here's Lauri Nami. He's in 2nd place in the overall standings. The Estonian is the final competitor in this group, and the final chance for somebody to take down Eddie Hall's time of 37.46.
See that pull and that big strain here. Loses his balance a little bit there. Seems to be a little uncoordinated. He's got to find his rhythm, Brent, if he wants to beat that 37.46 time.
And he's trying to pull a truck that's 26,500 pounds, 25 meters.
I like Nami's technique here. He started out almost parallel to the ground, but he's slowly starting to rise up, almost like a sprinter, but in slow motion.
Lowry Nami closing in on the finish. Final competitor in the truck pull. To the finish line is Nami. And behind the winning time, but nevertheless a solid effort for the Estonian. And he will finish in 4th place, 40.39 here in the truck pull.
Nami towards the end kind of dragging that right hip.
England's Eddie Hall is going to claim the victory here in the truck pull with a time of 37.46. Shimansky put together solid back-to-back events. He finished 2nd in the truck pull. Pritchett grabbed 3rd. Mike Caruso struggled and finished in 6th place. After 2 events, Poland's Shimansky is the leader with 11 points. Hall of England has 10 points. The Estonian Nami is in 3rd. The USA's Pritchett is 4th. We moved on to Hollywood for Group 3's next event. This New York City street backlot was the site for the squat lift. Gregor Shimansky of Poland entered the squat lift as the overall leader, but he won't stay there. He completed just 3 repetitions in 12.31. Lowry Nami fared better. The construction company manager back home in Estonia finished with 5 reps in 28.58 seconds. Mike Caruso of the United States impressively powered his way through all 7 repetitions. His time was 41.49 seconds. Dimitar Sabatinov, the former circus strongman, put on a show fit for the center ring. The Bulgarian completed 7 reps in 33.75. Jerry Pritchett, the other American in the group, also finished all 7 reps. His time was an ultra-fast 33.59. Eddie Hall amazingly went even quicker. The Englishman squatted a total of 5,015 pounds in 30.53 seconds for the victory. So it's 2 event wins in a row for Eddie Hall. His time of 30.53 seconds was the fastest of the 4 guys who completed all 7 reps. Jerry Pritchett was 2nd, Dimitar Sabatinov was 3rd, and Mike Caruso 4th. Hall is the overall leader with 16 points. Shimansky is 2nd, Pritchett and Nami are tied for 3rd, and it looks like the battle for the 2 automatic spots in the final will go down to the wire. The 6 strongmen in Group 3 each arrived in California, seeking to survive the qualifying round and secure a first appearance on the biggest stage in strength athletics. We'll find out which 2 men will realize their dreams and reach the World's Strongest Man final, and which 4 others will likely have to wait another year. Next. The Commerce Hotel and Resort in Los Angeles, California, is the host for the premier event in all of strength athletics. The challenges for Group 3 just keep on coming. Their 4th of 6 unique events is the Super Yoke.
Brent, the Super Yoke's like the world's worst piggyback ride. 1,000 pounds worth of tires will rest on our athletes' shoulders, and somehow they're expected to carry that for 25 meters. The legs and back really get tested here.
On to Heat 1, it's the World's Strongest Man debut for Dimitar Sabatinov. The longtime circus performer, the Bulgarian, is in 5th place overall. The USA's Mike Caruso is also a rookie. Mike is in 6th place overall. As a PhD in cell and molecular biology, we know he has the smarts to figure out what needs to be done here.
What needs to get done right out of the start is make sure that you have that frame evenly loaded to give yourself a chance to make the 25 meters. Caruso, quick out of the gate, but a little herky-jerky, but his strength really starting to take over, looking good through his lower body.
Mike Caruso with a slight edge here in Heat 1, near lane.
See Sabatinov on the right of your screen kind of dragging his legs a little bit, but Caruso making it look like he's carrying a deer out of the woods.
20.44. So Caruso sets the early time to beat
20.44 seconds from the United
here in the
States,
Super Yoke.
Mike Caruso.
20.44 for Caruso. And Savatinov will begin in second place, his time of 24.42. Savatinov was right there with Caruso until the 1,000 pounds became too much. No such trouble for the American as he set the time to beat.
From Estonia,
Lauri Niemi is tied for third place overall. The Estonian is in good position to push for one of the two places in the World's Strongest Man final. And a guy in even better position to make the final is Eddie Hall of England. Hall has won the last two events to take the overall lead.
Take your position. Ready?
Eddie Hall with a little bit of a slow start. Kind of came out of the gate slower than expected. Niemi looking pretty good and solid through his lower body.
Carrying 1,000 pounds with a time to beat 20.44.
Take a look at Eddie Hall. He's waddling a little bit through his left hip. It's working around versus through its natural axis. Remember, Eddie Hall killed it in the truck pull and the squat lift. He needs a good time here.
He's pulled even, and now he's passed up the struggling Niemi and puts it down. Eddie Hall, 28.06 to win the heat. Niemi, down the stretch, was really fighting it. And Eddie Hall will go into third place here in the Super Yoke with a time of 28.06. And Lauri Niemi will go into fourth at 30.24 seconds.
Niemi was blowed out, started drifting there towards the right. And Brent, both guys to me seem pretty tentative. Not that I can blame them when they're weighed down by a half a ton on their shoulders, but Eddie's focus just seemed to be very measured with each step he took.
Here's Jerry Pritchett, the metal fabricator from Arizona. Enters the Super Yoke owning a share of third place in the overall standings. This is the Polish rookie, Gregor Shimansky, who's in second place, and he's a guy that has shown plenty of explosive power, so this could be an event that suits him.
Yeah, Jerry Pritchard did really well in the squat, which is a static event. Let's see how he does here.
Jerry Pritchett off to a very good start out of the blocks.
Shimansky looking like he's feeling it a little bit, taking baby steps. That's a lot of weight on their backs, though, Brent.
That 20.44 is in jeopardy, cruising to the finish. Pritchett, the American, got it. 20.21, and Jerry Pritchett wins the event. Shimansky in 24.33 will finish third overall. Not too bad for either of these guys in the Super Yoke. The man from Poland gets third. And the man from Arizona wins the Super Yoke, Jerry Pritchett. Americans go 1-2 in the Super Yoke. Jerry Pritchett grabs the win in 20.21 seconds. Mike Caruso was just 0.23 behind. Gregor Shimansky was third. Eddie Hall settled for fifth. After four events, Hall remains the overall leader with 18 points. Pritchett and Shimansky each have 16 points to share second. Caruso moves up to fourth position. This commerce flashback took place in the Bahamas in 1995 when Sweden's Magnus Samuelsson announced his presence. His victory in an arm wrestling match against Nathan Megaman Jones left the giant 6'10" Australian with a fractured arm. Samuelsson went on to qualify for his first final and was champion 3 years later. Group 4 moved to Universal Studios Hollywood for their fifth event, the overhead lift. Lauri Niemi, the veteran strongman from Estonia, ran into all sorts of difficulty with a 330-pound log and finished with just one lift. Gregor Shimansky of Poland was able to press the log overhead successfully 4 times, but injured his bicep in the process. Jerry Pritchett of the USA needed a good performance, and he got one. He finished with 5 good reps. That total was matched by Dimitar Savatinov of Bulgaria, so Savatinov and Pritchett tied for third place. First place was also shared. American Mike Caruso showed his shoulder power on his way to 6 repetitions. Eddie Hall is one of the best pressers in the world, and he showed that once again here on the big stage. So Hall and Caruso share the win in the overhead lift with 6 reps apiece. Pritchett and Savatinov tied for third. Shimansky finished fifth and has an injury concern now to make matters worse. With 23.5 points at the top of the leaderboard, Eddie Hall making the final is just a formality. Pritchett controls the second spot, but can he hold off Shimansky and Caruso? Group 3's qualifying round concludes with the Atlas Stones, one of our signature events.
In the Atlas Stones, the strongmen need to move 1,690 pounds worth of stones from the ground to platforms as quickly as possible. The legs, back, shoulders, and arms are all required to get the job done.
Gregor Shimansky of Poland was diagnosed with a torn right bicep, but he gutted out 3 stones in 30.34 seconds. That, in all likelihood, won't be enough to move on to the final. Mauri Nami of Estonia completed all 5 stones in 40.15 seconds to close out his time in Southern California. Eddie Hall is all but certain to advance to the final. The Englishman just needs to place 1 stone on the platform to clinch a spot in the big show. Unfortunately for Bulgarian Dimitar Savatinov, who's in 5th place overall, he's been basically mathematically eliminated from advancing.
Ready?
Check out Savatinov with that first 285-pound stone. Pretty unconventional putting up on his shoulder that way. Got to take tremendous upper thoracic back strength to do it.
Savatinov just threw up the 310-pounder. Now Hall up with the second. Savatinov up with the third at 330, and now he goes after the 355.
Wondered his time as a circus performer he ever had to lift stones this big, buddy.
Meantime for Hall, this is basically a training run, and he's done after 3. He's already qualified for the final, so he checks out. Now Savatinov able to get the 355-pounder up and 1 more to go.
Yeah, now the big Lukanka's going for the 410-pound stone. Bulgarians have a lot of pride, but that one's going to be pretty heavy for Savatinov.
Lukanka, of course, being a traditional Bulgarian sausage.
3 stones at a time.
Eddie Hall, 3 stones, 32.15. Most importantly, he qualifies for the World's Strongest Man final. And Savatinov with a nice effort, but he won't qualify. 4 stones and 40.10 puts him currently in 2nd in the event.
Yeah, you could pretty much tell Eddie Hall was saving himself for the final. He wasn't going to waste energy. He's being conservative. And it was a pretty good performance for Savatinov to close things out for the Bulgarian.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Well, American Jerry Pritchett is on the verge of reaching his first final. He's in 2nd place and possesses a 2-point advantage over Mike Caruso, the other American in the group. Caruso needs a major error by Pritchett and also needs to post a fantastic result of his own if he hopes to get into the top 2.
Pritchett started out this competition slow, but he's been steadily and surely coming on. He comes out of the gate on fire with that first 285-pound stone, Brent.
You see that tacky all over the arms and hands of these guys, and sometimes it goes onto the stone and then ties up to their shirt.
Pritchett's impressive back and arm strength on display here. He struggles here with that 355-pounder, but then heaves it up onto the platform.
1 more stone for Pritchett. As Caruso throws up his 3rd. Pritchett about to get to the final in World's Strongest Man, 32.99. Big moment for the American Jerry Pritchett. Now he's going to try to help Caruso along, who's been eliminated from contention for the final.
Ladies and gentlemen, with 5 stones from the USA.
So Jerry Pritchett wins the Atlas Stones in 32.99 and qualifies for the final. Caruso finishes 4th in the Atlas Stones. He got 3 stones in 28.50 and does not qualify.
Yeah, and after a slow start in this competition, it really was a huge moment for Jerry Pritchett, and that's how you finish in style. He got the 410-pound stone to his belly, popped it up on the platform, and he's going to make the final for the first time.
England's Hall finished 6th, but it was enough to reach the final. The USA's Pritchett delivered a clutch performance, winning the Atlas Stones with 5 stones in 32.99. Pritchett tops the final standings with 25.5 points. Hall, the other finalist, will have to be satisfied with 2nd place. Caruso finishes 3rd in a very impressive debut. 2 more names are added to the list of World's Strongest Man finalists, with Jerry Pritchett and Eddie Hall moving on. For my partner Aaron Taylor, I'm Brent Stover saying so long from California.